the button. Jim has his. What is that? Is that the recycling symbol? Is that the Klingon spiral of death? Is that the Gaelic Triskele? What is that? That's
That is the
OBS.
that's OBS. Yeah.
Open Broadcaster Studio. You're seeing how the sausage is made, folks.
Yeah. Are we actually
So we did.
live?
Yeah, yeah, we're live.
Of course
Yeah,
you did it. Of course you did it.
I told you I did. I told you. We were actually a couple of seconds late. Jim decided to play with his camera 2 or 3 seconds after showtime.
Well, technically I did it before showtime. Just didn't realize how close it was to go time. But I'm still here and as erudite and sophisticated as ever. You just can't see me
Yes,
at the moment, and that'll be fine. Just
that
calm
is the
down.
level of sophistication of Jim. We can't see him.
Calm down. Everybody remain calm.
So we did the whole KV4P thing for a while, and before that we did the TNC thing for a while. And the TNC can do APRS and the KV4P can do APRS, and I am actually within range of an APRS digipeater. And there is some new APRS software for macOS, which I happen to run and enjoy because it doesn't try to inflict pain upon me like Windows does with
Mm,
Copilot and advertising and constantly installing games that I've uninstalled and horrible
that
memory
is
consumption and waking up to
that
a
it
blue screen of death every morning.
that is annoying. Yeah, the game thing drives me nuts with Windows, and they're sneaky
Yeah.
about it too.
I I don't want Candy Crush. I really don't want Candy Crush. For the 15th time, I still don't want Candy Crush, and it keeps putting it back on. Yeah. I
Excuse me.
haven't liked Windows since Windows 8 came out because that was the beginning of the end, folks. Anyway, off of that, there is this QTH app for oh wow. I just got ready to change my screen and here's Jim. Let's
This is
let's do
the
this.
this is the camera in the middle of the monitor thing. And see, the reason I keep the camera tight is because I don't want y'all to know what a sloppy mess it is in this office. Y'all can't see
Oh, we
most of the
know.
mess, but you know, I mean, my
This
wife
is like
just
the
rolls her
Castler
eyes at
view.
me. Yeah, it is. I mean,
This is the
a
Castler
couple
view.
couple of my axes back in the corner, the big TV, which reflects way more than I'd really care for you people to see, and
You're watching your
and
cell phone two screens in front of you?
no, I'm just watching myself in this screen, the only screen right now, but
I'm
I can
looking
see
at the
the
reflection in the screen behind you, and it
yeah.
looks like there's two StreamYard screens. I guess one is YouTube and one is StreamYard.
No, it's just StreamYard right now. It's all it's up
Look at
here.
your. I'm not arguing with you, but look at your reflection
Oh
monitor.
yeah, you're seeing this monitor over here, I think. That one right there.
Yeah, well, there's two. Could
And then
yeah
this
yeah
is
okay, I agree with that.
and then this is
The white elephant
uh
looks like you.
this is the actual monitor I'm looking at that you're seeing in the reflection. So need to tweak this view a little bit. Pray continue, Stephen.
Pray. I think we might need to pray a bit on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was getting ready to before I got thoroughly distracted, bring up the QTH app, which is linked in the description. I think it's in my other browser. That's going to make it really hard to share the tab from the other browser. Let's put that up over there. Let's do that. Okay. Now Jim's cropping. This is the industry term that we call cropping. Taking
And
a larger picture and making it smaller.
and I do want to say that ape is confused. It is Chiron. I mean, the civilians can call it a crawler, but it's a Chiron. That's a little better, a little less distracting with all the extra fluff. I still don't think I like this, but it's not as good of a camera either. So this is a Mac app that does the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Mac OS and they're not helping that. Whoa, that's a browser plugin. I didn't click that. They're not helping when they say what is your location question mark as their big headline because APRS is not specifically and only position reporting. There's so much more than that.
Right.
But the name of his app is QTH, which is what's your position. So I can kind of see that. And he did call APRS the proper thing. And I'm not picking on it, I'm just having fun. So Chris is asking why crop it, and it gets rid of all the mess. Why is that? There we go. That was very slow to pop up. It gets rid
The
of all the
dis-
mess
yeah,
that you
the
see everywhere
distracting
else.
stuff. The distracting stuff.
My
I've
room's
seen
actually not
this.
big enough to crop.
Well, and Steve's camera is also shooting from below him. That's why you get such a view of his glorious proboscis. But my cameras are basically eye level on either one of them, and they're both
Yeah.
very wide lensed. And it's just, I mean, yes, it's, messy. And I don't want y'all to think I'm a complete pig, but I am a grown man and somewhat sloppy. So, and my
So
wife
here
never
is
comes back here, so
yeah, I am 8 feet tall. This is the screenshot. I was trying to think of the word. The screenshot of what this program looks like, and it looks pretty good. I'm not going to have any speedometer ratings because I'm not moving, and I'm not going to have a heading rating because I'm not heading anywhere. But we'll be able to figure out some of the other stuff. Easy map navigation, supports connecting via audio modem using the internal sound card, serial KISS TNC, special support for mobility linked Bluetooth TNCs. It'll connect via APRS IS, which is the internet. I forget what the S is. I'm going to say service or system or something. And AGWPE, I think, is a different technology that does the same thing that KISS does. And
thank
then
you,
GPS
Glenn.
connections. Yes. So Chiron's a brand name? Nice.
I
Like
didn't. I
Kleenex.
think it is. I think it is a brand name, but it might also be used like Kleenex, and it's facial tissues. No one. Steve, you got any facial tissues? Because that sounds kind of
No,
weird.
but I did get a boo-boo. Can you give me a sticking plaster
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a
or a
British thing
band-aid?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what band-aids are besides that. Adhesive bandage?
Adhesive bandage, I think, is the thing.
So I was talking about GPS. It'll do Bluetooth GPS, which I don't have one of those. Actually, I might, but we're not going to get into that. Uses macOS location services in the absence of a GPS. I think I'm just going to put in coordinates. I don't know.
Right. Thank you, Ken.
Support for drawing APRS shapes directly on the map, mapping APRS position reports, objects, etc. Graphical display of speed and direction. We talked about that. Tactical call signs. We'll see some of those. There actually is a couple of tactical call signs here. Station paths, including dead reckoning. Nice. Telemetry graphs, APRS timeline. Go back in time and see where things were at a certain time. That's back
Tracking.
to position reporting stuff. Yeah. Special weather station display, including wind barbs and temperature colors. That's going to be really interesting. I might have to get an old Mac Mini to run this on.
Dude, you can
Location
get
beaconing.
you can get a Mac Pro, a 2013 trash can for like $200.
Yeah. I
Because
want the cheapest Mac that'll run this software.
I have converted my trash can to Linux at this point, but
We still have the Mini it was sitting on, right?
yeah, the Mini's still there. It's running Sequoia, current Mac OS.
Instant messaging, store favorite ham radio contacts in the Apple contacts. If I used Apple contacts, that might be exciting. I wonder if you could use the like Apple contacts and then the Apple messaging system to send APRS ham radio contact messages. That would be neat.
That would be really
Alerts
cool.
integrated with the notification center, custom matching rules. The biggest thing I use the notification center for in macOS is to be notified that this application gives notifications and then turn those off.
Hey, amen. Oh, wrong camera. I see. I'm used to looking at
Right.
that camera over there. Exactly. Same here. I hate those things. I turn all that crap off.
If it's important, pick up the phone and call me.
Yeah.
Is it
Well,
a
it's like
Mac or iPhone app? Glenn, I don't know. I'm going to use it as a Mac app, and I guess we'll see. It's a free app in the App Store, so try it.
yeah.
But the cool
Chris
thing about
Bricker.
Mac OS on the new, I'll let you have it 1 second. On the new version of Mac hardware is that you can, what's it called? You can run iPhone apps on your MacBook, which is nice. Anyway, go ahead. What was Chris saying?
Chris said it's $30.
When I did it, I didn't see that there was a payment option. It just said
Really?
Git. Yeah, so I don't know.
Maybe it. Oh, that's how they get you. It has in-app purchases, dude.
Yeah, let me get my
Bet
other
you. Bet
screen
you. Bet
shared
you.
out. Stop, present, share, entire screen. Let's get
We have
dangerous.
a little bit of housekeeping there,
Do it.
Johnny Dangerously. David has been a member for 17 months, and there was another membership milestone that popped up right
Thank you,
before the
David.
show.
They're automatically starred.
Oh,
So
yeah,
go to the
that's right.
starred section.
Duh. And Wayne is in attendance and paying
Wayne.
attention, and he has been here for 17 months. So thank you very
Seven
much.
7 months of paying attention. Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah.
macOS Enable Transit is $30. Enable Transit. Okay. Well, I've got my screen shared. So I'm going to hit the Git button. We're going to get to Gittin, which then changes to an install button. So I got to do it twice. I always love how they do that.
Well, they don't want you to accidentally buy something or wantonly click, I guess.
Andy Cowley, 50 months. Holy moly, Andy.
Andy, thank you.
Thank you.
4
Thank you.
years plus. Apparently, we're doing something right because Andy Cowley is the premier YouTube ham radio watcher. And you know, unlike Statler and Waldorf, Andy doesn't really throw any shade in the chat. He's just always there, always friendly, says hi. Mr. Gendron has shown up. About time.
You know, you're going to run into John at Dayton and you just call him Jean Luc.
Right. And it does have in-app purchases there, which I think you already found. But
Yeah, we'll figure out what they are.
Scott has been a
Scott
member
is
for
correct.
8 months.
This is the problem with having multiple Macs. So it says enter the verification code sent to your MacBook Pro. And I'm thinking it was sent to the one in the other room that my wife is using because it ain't here.
Honey, what's the code? Meanwhile, Craig has been a member for 14 months. And Nuggets is his go-to process of elimination. Craig, thanks. And James,
Go-to process of
KI5OEB,
elimination.
been a member for 36 months.
Howdy, James. I gave your radio a workout today.
James, we like hanging out with you too, man. You guys are all cool.
It's still downloading. Greetings from the Jersey Shore.
Are
GTL.
you on the same internet as the stream is that you're downloading, or are you taking up Chris's internet?
I kicked her off to the park Wi-Fi so that we would have more speed for the show.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico, which I guess you're going to see as soon as we pull up maps and everything. But there's just not enough population density here, and I'm not even far from the interstate, so I should still have good service.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of weird. It's like 50 megabits per second up, and then somewhere between 0 and 20 down.
That
Michael,
is weird.
34
It's usually
months.
the other
Welcome.
way.
Yeah, usually it's fast down and slow up. Ah, it's done.
And if y'all don't know Michael, he will be at Dayton driving a cart around. So look out for Michael.
Yeah. So it wants to know my current location, and I'm going to say no, just to see what that looks like. But this is nice because it's given me this little wizard thing. I can get rid of the App Store. I can get rid of the browser.
Is there any chance you could make that any bigger?
I'm sharing the entire screen, so not yet. Let me get rid of the setup assistant thing first, and then I can share just the window.
All right.
This is something I think that a lot of ham radio apps should do. They should, like, when you get your FT5 or your FTM 500 radio and you plug it in for the first time and it asks you your call sign, it's actually now 100% configured for C4 FM. Whereas, like on a DMR radio, you turn it on and it's like, "Hi, I'm a DMR radio."
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck with that.
And then you have to go get a radio ID, and then you have to go figure out what that is and how to program it into the radio and load the CPS and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to continue. What's my call sign? KM9G. Enter your call sign if you're playing along at home.
IPA lot.
Station
IPA lot
identifier.
has been a member for 9 months, and he likes ice cream. Thank you, buddy. Like ice cream
Awesome.
too.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is going to be my primary station, but I don't know how often it's going to be on the air. So we'll just do -0 for my station identifier. But it gave you a bunch of them. Symbol is a Apple logo. Nice.
So is
And
there
that's from like the Apple II days.
and there is a logic to station identifiers, right? Some kind of gentleman's agreement about what they should be. Because I can never remember this, and I'm always when I'm trying to mess with one, I don't want to look it up because I'm lazy. So I just try to pick a number that I know I haven't used before.
Yeah.
I'm asking the question. Is that the case, right?
Oh, let me see. I'll go back and it'll give you a list. So 0 is your primary station, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5 are generic additional stations. 5 is
Okay.
other networks. So this would be like digital, as opposed to like raw APRS packet over your 144, 390 frequency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Special activity, walkie talkies. So 7 is what you would put in for an HT by default. Boats, sailboats, or RVs. Primary mobile, usually message capable, one would hope. But there really isn't a good carry with you all the time. I mean, the Vero is probably the closest one you're going to get because you just leave this thing attached to your belt or whatever and forget it's there and use the cell phone app anyway. 13 is weather stations. 14 is for truckers or full-time drivers. And then 15 is another generic additional station.
Okay. Bricker's saying to
Yeah, so
enable transmit, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, and I just got to that page right there, and we had to go back.
My bad.
So QTH app operates under a freemium model. You're welcome to use the app for free and receive only mode for as long as you would like. However, to enable transmit, it does require a perpetual license with a one-time purchase. I encourage everyone to spend some time using the software and decide whether you like it before making the purchase. However, if you're ready for that now, you can use this button to start the process. Let's see. Purchase a license. And it's $30. Okay. I just kind of said the same thing. So you can't transmit with it. Is there an iOS equivalent to APRS Droid?
Yes, APRS.
Yes, there is.
FI.
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot the name, but it was something very obvious.
APRS.FI. And it's a pretty sweet app, Pablo. I have it. It's a subscription, and it's like $12 a year or something. It's not. I don't think it's but one fee annually, and it's small, and it will do all the things. It will Bluetooth. It will TNC. It will iDigiPeak gate, all that stuff, all at the same time. It can do just pretty much everything APRS Droid does.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to play with this for as long as we can before it starts to get to be a problem that we haven't purchased the license, and then we'll take it from there. It's a
Okay.
perpetual license, so for every version of Mac product, Jim, you have your iPhone handy. Is this iPhone capable? Can you check it out real quick?
Yeah. Let me see.
Patrick is late, so we're not going to talk about Patrick's amazing caps that have embroidered call signs on them that you can get
totally
by looking on
badass. Yeah.
Etsy. We're not going to talk about those.
Ham QTH.
While Jim is doing that, I'm
no,
going to see.
Was it ham
It's QTH.app. It's QTH.app. See if I can share just the app instead and see if it'll do it. Oh, it'll share just the setup assistant. Nice. There. Just the thing that I was reading. APRS Pro Ultimate on iOS. Because Pro wasn't Pro enough. Ultimate.
No, I don't see it in here. You're seeing QTH.app on the file name,
Mhm.
right? That's just a Mac thing. That's not the name of the app. It's just QTH.
No, QTH.app is the name of the app.
Okay.
You go back to the App Store, QTH.app.
Because no, I don't see it on the
Maybe
iPhone.
maybe I'm wrong.
You are.
Maybe QTH.app is the website. No. Okay, so you search for QTH.app and it doesn't give you the result. Here, let me share that screen instead. This is why I don't like sharing multiple screens with
Just don't
what's it
show any
called?
pictures that you know that you shouldn't share.
Well, no, like so I went into the App Store, and I searched for QTH.app, and
Hmm.
it's not the first result. And then if I just search for QTH by itself, it's the first result, it's the only result, and it's called QTH.app.
That
That's like
is
searching
just
for James Perry by name and no results whatsoever. But I search for
right.
Big Jim, and he's the only one that comes back, and his name is James Perry on the screen.
Yeah, I don't see that app is not in the App Store either. We're searching by QTH or QTH.app.
I don't know the name of the company deal, but it might be Weston Boustron as the name of the company if you're looking for that.
Okay.
Anyway,
And
there's
for what
back to
it's
that.
worth, APRS.fi does pretty much everything Steve is showing so far too.
Yeah, so far. This is just another thing, another way to
Yeah, yeah.
whack the same mole.
We'll do Windows
So
too
like I
if
was
you
saying, we're
want.
not going to purchase the license right now. We're going to see how far we can get without purchasing the license, and then we'll try it. And since I can't transmit, I was going to do radio RF first, but since I can't transmit, that's kind of pointless. We might still do it and see what receive is because there's a digipeater within range of me. I'm like 2 miles from Tucumcari Mountain, which has a digipeater on it. Create a connection to APRS IS for me.
What was the
Otherwise, I guess you'd have to do it manually. But yes, do it.
what is the company name
And
that you
then
called it?
Weston, and then the guy's last name, which I don't remember because I just closed the app store.
Okay.
Let's go back to sharing out the whole screen. So that screen share stopped because I finished the dialogue.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not here. There's not an iOS version of it. It's Mac only, apparently.
And now my phone's going crazy. Okay. Nothing to worry about there. Yeah, Western. Yeah, I can't even read that. Weston, Bustraan. Bustran.
Yeah, I could. The only Westons that showed up was the hotels.
Yep. So if you want to do it, you can click on license. I asked for that box to pop up. It wasn't Nagware. Services, hide, file, import, clear history, station, manage favorites, query. Oh, there's a whole bunch of query stuff. Nice. We'll do that soon. View favorite stations, other stations, station tracks, object items, weather stations, range circles, dead reckoning, map type. I don't know if you guys can hear the radio in the background doing the APRS noises, but
Heard a
that's
little
from
bit.
the digipeater up on the mountain. My noise gate should probably cut out most of it. It should just sound weird.
Great.
Okay, so there's not a whole heck of a lot to do. LECACY license center. That probably means legacy. Yeah, it does mean legacy. So I can import a license. There's not a lot to do from the menus at the top of the screen. I can turn the speed and heading off on the left-hand side. And I click the plug button, so I guess I'm trying to plug into the network. So we'll turn that on. QTH would like access to contacts. I don't use Apple Contacts, so I don't want to do that.
What Mac is that you're running there, buddy?
It's a 2024 MacBook Pro.
Okay, so current hardware.
Yeah.
M3, M2?
M4, I think.
Okay.
No, it's Apple M3 Pro.
Yeah, I didn't think it was an M4 laptop because I didn't think they'd released those yet, but I wasn't sure.
I went and got I figured it's going to be the last one I buy for a while, a couple of years, hopefully.
Yeah.
And because Mac hardware does tend to last a little bit longer. Um, so I got the M3 Pro, and I think I had to wait like a week or two for the M3 Pro to be released. Because you know how it is. You go in and you buy one, and the day after you buy it, they release the next version. And I think the
I bought
M4 came out like a month later.
I bought the M2 Mini Pro because it was a great deal. And like 3 or 4 days after it arrived and I had put my filthy monkey paws all over it, I found a M2 Studio. It's a better computer for like $50 more. I was so aggravated. But the M2, I have an M2 Mini Pro and it's a great computer.
So this is one of those situations where I guess I kind of need to know what I'm expecting this thing to do because it's not. I turned on APRS IS iGate stuff, and it knows who I am. So if one of y'all in the chat, ooh, thank you, Doc Brad, getting
Doc
closer
says,
every second.
Doc says, do it, son. Buy the ticket. Punch it.
Yes, but that's his donation, so we still need another $10 to go. KM9G-0, Ken. Thank you, Doc.
Doc is awesome. We hung out with Doc at Huntsville last year a bunch. Pretty cool.
So I don't know if this is giving me like I didn't tell it to give me local traffic or any traffic. I just turned it on.
Chris is saying to take a look at the alerts in the settings. You can set some interesting alert rules.
There's settings. Okay, good. Station power, height, gain, directivity, call sign. I said call sign 0. I don't know why I didn't
0.
save that. Maybe zeros.
Michael,
Yeah.
he's KM9G-0.
Maybe. Oh. Source location services, source manual is what I want. And then. Really? I told it to pick source manual. And then it gave me one of those little things. I guess I'm supposed to click on the map somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I just gotta figure
Locate
out where I
yourself
am.
and then click it. So Pinpoint APRS will try and get you from your Wi-Fi location kind of thing. Or you can go into the map
Yeah.
and then drag and drop and click where you actually are.
I think I'm north of Santa Fe. Where's I-40?
I thought you were in Tucumcari.
I am, which I thought was north of Santa Fe. There it is. I found it. It's hard to navigate a state where you don't live and don't know much about it.
And don't know where everything's at, yeah.
Wait for the map to reappear. So this is, I tried to do a soda on this summit today, but this road, this South Mountain Road right here, is closed at this elbow. So I couldn't get through. All right, let's get back into settings and let's do locate and let's locate ourselves on Tucumcari Mountain. Okay. Position, mic encoded, mic E. Timestamp, altitude, indicate messaging enabled. Mic E status is committed. Monitor frequency 146.52. Why not? I'm not actually going to do that, but for the purposes of tonight's show, I can't enable beacon because I don't have the transmit license yet. Maximum message retries 3. Receive messages for all my SSIDs. Nice. Send notification for messages to new stations. And this is the notification settings in. Let's turn it on to allow notifications. That's going to get ugly. Chris, thank you. Chris has donated slightly more slightly more than Doc Brad. He beat Doc Brad by a penny. To continue us on our license journey. But again, I want to get to the point where can't. And so far, I haven't been able to do anything at all, let alone can't transmit. Display QRU request. Respond to QRU requests. What does QRU stand for, Jim?
I don't know. Where are you would be my
Perhaps.
guess. What's your location?
Well, that's QTH. What's your location?
No, that's
But
home
we
as
always
far as
say,
I thought.
well,
Have I
when
been
you look up
misusing that?
QRU, you can
Okay,
find out whether you've been misusing it or not.
let me Google that.
John, I hope there's an APRS chat screen. We'll get there soon. Call sign lookups. Okay, cool. So I can put that in. QRZ.
No traffic. Do you have any for
Password
me?
starred. Nice.
That's what it means.
Okay, so that's the traffic. So now look up your use of. Oh, you could do digipeater and iGate. Nice. Digipeater routes.
Look up which.
QTH to see if you were using it wrong.
My location is. What is your location? So I was using it
Yeah.
wrong. It doesn't mean just home. Well, no,
Maybe.
because I usually would say my QTH is Pentlala. So I'm not using it wrong. I could just say
Yeah.
QTH Pentlala instead of my QTH is.
I think I have been using it wrong though, because when I travel, they're like, "What's your QTH?" And it's like, "Well, right now I'm in New Mexico, but my
No,
home is in
that's
Texas."
correct. I mean, that's
And
kind
then
of
the
correct.
second part of the sentence.
Yeah.
So we're going to alert on new stations. Play sound tink. Nice.
Hollywood,
It's
what's
playing
up,
in my
buddy?
headset. Proximity enabled. Station emergency is already enabled. Band opening. Oh, that's cool. There's a band opening. When any of the following are true, scope is local. Proximity is greater than 50,000. I can't even, that number's so big I can't even read the whole thing. Oh, it changed. After I said is greater than, it went to 199.999999. Oh, wow. Okay. Why would it be decimalified that bad? 199.9995029030462 miles, which is not quite 200 miles. But if I was that distance away from 200 miles, you could still hear me have a conversation with you.
Okay, Scott, that makes sense. He's saying that
I agree,
APRS
Scott.
expects you to key up before you can receive, which is interesting. I was unaware of that. So let me.
See, I would think that this thing would allow you to do like 10 beacons. Because I agree with what Scott's saying. If I haven't beaconed, then the network doesn't know that I exist. Therefore, it's not going to receive messages. And Eamon just said it too. It needs to know where to send the message.
Yeah.
JW9JCR says he's trapped in Kankakee tonight. If that's on your bingo square, check it.
Drive by 527 West Water Street. It's where I used to live. Grew up there.
See how dirty the neighborhood is.
It probably is. I don't know. I hadn't been.
Yeah, 4-5. I agree with you.
Forever.
So the argument that we're having, argument in air quotes, is QTH is where are you, not what is your house, not what is your home address. So when they say what's your QTH, it's Tucumcari. Period. You can say more if you'd like, but the answer to that question is Tucumcari. Done. Jim, what's your old phone number?
Oh, I could tell you right now, but I'm not going to do that on YouTube. Some poor bastard will get all sorts of calls from you weirdos. Now, I remember my old phone number. I can also tell you Jerry Lynn Fox's phone number, too, because I remember that. Girlfriend.
Yeah.
My head is full of a ton of useless knowledge.
So I set my location here, and I told it to give me alerts, and my radio is going crazy. So there is traffic in the area. Right, hacks, exactly. I don't get the blue dashes on the window on the left either. And it's going backwards in time, so I think that's like messages heard or something.
I think that's traffic, yeah.
But this map should be populating because I'm connected to APRS IS. However, it asked if it wanted to configure it for me, and I said yes, and I'm assuming that it just configured it but didn't actually do it right. So 0 for the SSID because it asked me the SSID and then didn't record it in either of the two places I've seen it so far. And then rotate.aprs2.net is fine. That's probably a load balancer. Reconnect on network failure. Include packets in the area inside of the visible map boundaries. Okay. And it's on. There's a play button down here, and there's a live button. So that's to go back in time. But we're back to live. All right, so I am going to send a beacon on my radio. Let me check
Now,
my settings.
and I think we probably talked about this before, but I don't do this often enough to remember. If I've sent you like 3 messages, 'cause I'm using APRS FI because I would do it on the 5D, but I don't have time for that because the interface sucks so hard. Are you going to get those messages even though you may not be able to receive them, or is it one and done? It's going to try like 5 minutes or some amount of time, and then it's done. And if you're not on the air, you'll never get them.
Yeah, it tries 5 times, and you either get an acknowledgement and it stops trying, or you don't get any acknowledgement and it gives up.
And you're done. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I was trying to send you some mission critical information,
Share location.
it's not going to get through because I think text messages queue up to some extent, or at least hold for a longer time. I don't really know exactly.
Okay, so I have enabled APRS. I don't think there's a way to force beacon with this.
That's why I usually use my 5D for testing APRS because I can make it beacon.
Yeah. I can do that in a second.
And
So I've
never.
got Elk Mountain. So these are messages I've received.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do this.
Now, what is your radio?
So you can.
Because
What do you
your
wanna
app
know?
is 0. What's your ID on the radio?
On this radio, I think I have it set to 12. Yeah, it's set to 12 on this radio.
12.
Yeah. So what I was showing is that I am receiving tons of APRS traffic inside the metal box. Elk Mountain KG5MMT-12, KG5MMT-14, Tescu, Tapia, Tukari. Tukari is the digipeater on the mountain that's next to me. K5DIG is the 2-meter repeater that's on the mountain that's next to me where the Tukari tactical call sign is. The Cabal, look at that, the Cabal is calling.
Ha.
KM5VY.
You are completely broke up.
SAMT, New Mexico. Which part?
When you held the radio
Which
up,
part?
you completely throttled and went all pixelated.
Is it back yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's potato cam. You're like 144p. Maybe 240 if I squint.
Yeah. I'm working the internet too hard.
We can hear you fine. We can hear you fine. It's just the screen is not doing well.
I think if I use the Bluetooth app, which is probably going to yank my headset, I can do a beacon from the app.
That is a Telecaster dock, not a Strat. Strat's in the other room. That's actually a Telecaster. I'll say this wrong. It's either a Telecaster Acoustasonic or a Telesonic. It has a piezo pickup on the bridge, and it has a humbucker up on the neck. And you can
Okay, I believe I've just beaconed.
do it either way or both. Let me pull up APRS. and see
That's
if
what I'm doing.
we can see you.
There it is. So I have beaconed and it has been heard.
Just got down.
Thank you, Frank. Now
Tucumcari.
that's -12, which is the radio. That's not -0.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's the one I found.
Yeah, I was
not
letting everybody else
yeah,
know.
yeah, not found in the database.
And then this app has actually picked up KM9G-12, which is weird that I'm not picking up the rest of the stuff. Like the thing that heard KM9G-12 doesn't show up on the map, but KM9G-12 shows up on the map.
Are you seeing
How did I
any
beacon? I
other?
beaconed with the radio.
Are you seeing any other stations around you at all? Because I go back to the
None.
filter comment. I wonder if you have filters turned on. You're filtering out traffic.
Yeah, so I did show the filter, and what the filter is maybe it's there, but it's not. Anyway, so filter is include packets in the area of the visible map boundaries. And then I can add more filters. So that one is the only active filter.
Okay.
And I just beaconed again, I think. So I have received one from APRS ISRX. Let me go to the radio and send myself a message.
Glenn, it depends on the radio. So on a excuse me, on a 5D, for example, you need to be on the APRS VFO, and then you hit menu and go to the second screen, and there's Beacon TX, and it will manually beacon. But you could also, and this is what's typical in most radios, there's some settings for beaconing depending on your speed and how often to beacon based on your speed, and some other parameters you can set. I don't know if the Vero has a manual beacon function or not. I guess it does.
It doesn't have a manual beacon function in the radio, but I did beacon from the app.
Okay. Okay.
The Bluetooth app.
The Bluetooth app, yeah, okay.
So that was weird. I went into the radio and I picked the KM9G-12, which I guess is myself. So menu, because I replied to myself and I acknowledged that I got my reply, but all of that happened on this radio. So now I can go into the app. See if I'm going to send a message from the cell phone app through the radio via RF to the digipeater on the mountain to my call sign locally and see if it picks itself up. It shouldn't because it doesn't know how to find me.
Doc is saying my audio is weird. Like how?
Yeah, nothing. Sound normal to John. So can it place the KM9G-12 on the same location as the digipeater because I told it to put it there? Not because it's from the digipeater or anything. Like it's doing exactly what I told it to. So I would question, unless I'm missing something completely obvious, which I mean, there's 155 of us here and nobody's yelling at me going, "Hey, dummy, you missed the completely obvious thing." I would question the author's decision to
block
not allow you to do like I understand why. Like the guy deserves to be compensated for his work. He is providing value. So I'm not discrediting that, but I can't do anything at all with this. Unless I've somehow messed something up. I can't tell the world that I exist, so I can't receive messages.
Well, you would think he would let you beacon at least. right? You can't talk to anybody. You can beacon. Okay. You're saying yacht, and that's it. Y'all get that reference. Put that in the chat. That was a reference.
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you. Not being able to send it all
And
is like, okay, is this cool? I can't tell.
the filter's not working. So I
Yeah,
am live,
and
and I'm
James
picking up
said
traffic on the radio.
turn off all the filters. Just disable the filter completely.
Settings, filter. I can't.
Yes, you can. What does that green button do that you got slid to the right? Go
I can
back
turn off APRS IS. I can turn off, like,
Oh, that's what
don't
that
give me
is?
anything at all.
Okay,
But
okay,
you said turn
disregard.
off the filter. So
Yeah.
include packets and radius, call signs, object names, digipeters, TUCARI,
Maybe it's like a
plus,
Linux firewall. You got to turn on everything. There's an implicit deny.
include call signs in, starting with K. So we'll get Scott for sure.
Oh, we got a good question in the chat.
Go for it.
Did you put in your APRS IS passcode?
I did not, and I don't see a spot for
Ah.
that. I agree that's a thing.
Hmm.
Oh, something shot up. Look at the blue bar on the side just went off the charts, and then the next blue bar went even higher.
You're receiving traffic. I think that's what that's doing, but I think that filter is
I told it to give me every digipeater, period,
okay.
and every call sign that starts with K. But as far as the APRS passcode thing goes, I don't see a place to put it. I'm not.
Huh.
I 100% agree that you should be doing that, but also the APRS passcode is a hash of your call sign. It's not a password that you set. Like you can put in any word you
Right,
want, and it'll give you back a hash of that word, and you can shove it in there, and ta-da! Because the passcode matches, it'll let you into the thing. Let's go into
right.
settings. Digipeater alerts. Routes is from to wide 1 1. Let's add from to wide 2 1. Sure, why not? Beacon, I can't beacon at all. Scope is internet. Messaging, display. Yeah, I don't see anything. Plugin, add, connection type, KISS serial, KISS TCP/IP, audio modem. Let's add that. TOs, yes, create. It's off currently, which is fine. KM9G-7. Auto start. Let's do GNOME, North America. Reconnect on failure. And it is. Okay, we'll turn off the old one. Turn on the new one. This thing should be filling up with messages. The second that we hear this.
Right.
Eamon, you might be correct, but that's just a guess. He's saying that it's RX only, and then when you pay, it magically adds the place to put your passcode in.
Well, this is interesting. Apparently, I've already bought this. Huh.
I don't doubt it.
Who knew?
So share your screen out, and let's do your APRS IS. I don't know
All right,
how I
let me
got the
move.
KM9G-12.
Let me move this damn camera off the monitor so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, I need to present your screen.
John's going to see if he already owns it also. This is one of the problems that I have with ham radio. Stuff is more difficult than it should be.
Uh, okay. I got to make this full screen so I can see this thing. Can you guys still see it
So
okay?
James, will you? Not yet.
Well, when I make it full screen. Oh, the
It's
app.
fine.
Yeah, I was talking about the monitor screen and the
Yeah.
app.
I was like,
There you go.
yeah. So real quick, James asked a question. I know this goes against everything the mail stands for, but is there a manual?
I don't
Period.
know.
Not
I don't
question
know.
mark. Not only is he not asking a question, he also didn't look himself, proving that he is male like the rest of us.
All right. So we go
Ronnie looking at
to.
Discord.
We can do satellite.
Ronnie read the manual. Thank you, Ronnie. No, actually, Ronnie asked. So Ronnie's AI overview says that if you are running an unlicensed mode, it uses a default passcode of -1, and the network, while the -1 passcode allows you to connect and receive packets from the network, it will not allow your outgoing packets to be routed on the network. So
Those
it should be
fast.
working. So if you go in, if you hit the plug at the top toolbar icon bar,
Yep.
that should pop up a new window eventually. And your IS is on, and then
I
check your
just.
filters with the gear at the end.
I don't have an SSID on this. I'll make this
So you
-0.
may have installed it but not paid for it also.
I don't know.
There's a QTH and then a licenses thing on the QTH menu.
Okay. Not showing me nothing.
It might be because you have a dialog box open. You're trying to ask for two dialog boxes at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. So you didn't pay for the license either.
I didn't pay for it either. All right. Let's try restore purchases. Maybe I was drinking.
Get rid of the plug thing that popped up with the APRS IS in it. There you go.
Yeah.
Now try restore purchases again.
Negative Batman.
It
I
ain't
must
doing
have
nothing.
I must have downloaded it and gotten vexed because it was $30. And I'm like, yeah, no. Not $30. A
All
Windows
right. Well, we
version
have the
was.
donations to cover it, so I'm going to go ahead and order
You
it.
gonna buy you gonna
See if
buy
it.
it? Okay.
Hold on. When I switched over to the icon, it's telling me I have 7 notifications. That's nice. Would you care to show me notifications?
I've sent you multiple messages. I got one from Ken.
Ah, that's the download I did. Let me.
I got one from Scott. I got one from Ron, N8WCR. Is that that's
Thank you,
Mr.
Michael.
Wolinski. Got one from John,
Michael,
WV3L.
if we would have went ahead and purchased this right at the very beginning of the stream, we would not have experienced this frustration together. So when I did tell it to give me, I did the filters, and I said, give me all the call signs that begin with K, and all the tactical call signs and everything. It did. So I've downloaded the entire list, and I think there it is, K0WAV-4 and -7. So that's Scott's neighborhood, and Scott's using the deputy icon, the green star with the D in the center.
Thank you, Michael. Maybe Steve will cover half of this.
Jim, I already said thank you to him. You weren't paying attention.
I know you did. That wasn't the point. I just bought it. Okay.
That's Mexico. Okay, now I'm starting to see stuff, and I didn't do anything other than hit the the hamburger menu, but it's not the hamburger menu.
All right, you can change that view on there, by the way, instead of that
Which
green
view?
mess that you're looking at on the map. If you go
Okay.
to View, Apple Map Types, and change it to Hybrid, then that'll give you the hybrid map with
The terrain.
terrain and roads and stuff.
It was too busy.
Okay. Because that
So
ain't.
there's Albuquerque. Yeah, so there's still like nothing here. I don't know why I'm not getting the technical call signs in my area. So we were zoomed in too much, and there's just nothing to see in the area. But if we get over to
If you go
Albuquerque
to,
where there is traffic,
have you gone to View, New Layer, Pins, and turned that on?
view, new layer, pins. View, new layer. I have pins turned on.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I
And
didn't
then
have
this
it on. I just
station,
turned it on.
W0NCT, just showed up. Okay. All right. Let's do license, buy license, pay with Touch ID. How's that going to work?
You touch that little thing on the corner of your laptop, the upper right corner.
I
Thingy.
don't know. I don't know whose money I just used to do that. My purchase was successful. That's kind of scary.
It's tied to your Apple ID.
Which doesn't have a payment method tied to it, to the best of my knowledge.
Apparently it does.
I
Or
know.
the
That's
Apple.
why I'm saying it's scary.
Apparently the Apple
Sean
police are going to come
Technician,
get you,
welcome. Thank
son.
you for being a new member. Okay, so now we can go in and we can go back to settings. Where is it? Go back to the plugin. I'm going to destroy mine and remove it. And I'm going to use the one that they had built in. I'm going to go into configure. I don't see a place to enter my APRS passcode, but it did say it was going to auto-generate it. Okay.
So off your call sign. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then somewhere, it was in the settings. Beacon. Enable beacon. Now we can do that. Scope is internet. Rate is set to manual, which is fine, but now I need to figure out where the click here to beacon button is. Oh, see, now I have a bunch of messages. Look at all these messages in here. This is the chat screen y'all were talking about. There is Frank, fun show, keep working on it. This is me sending myself a hello message. This is Scott saying howdy.
Oh, interesting. You can receive messages for all your SSIDs on this. So
yeah,
with
I told
this,
it to do
with
that
this,
earlier.
with this running, 0 and 12 would get messages.
But how do I
Queries
reply?
respond to QRU distances within 50 miles, 100 miles. That's under messaging.
All the messages now. Let's flood the APRS network.
Display QRU messages in chat.
That message is impossible to read. Scott said howdy again. No connections are transmitting in the selected whatever.
So under beacon, you just have enable beacon. Did you click that? Under the settings
I
beacon?
did.
Okay.
I did. Settings.
Well, I've got that enabled now.
Beacon. I have it enabled, and then under rate, I have it set to manual.
And I got messages from Scott and John.
It's interesting that this is a laptop or desktop application, but it allows you to do smart beaconing and everything and can get your GPS coordinates. So I'm going to be on the move with my laptop. Patrick, Amateur Radio Cap says APRS is awesome. John, APRS is more difficult than it should be, especially considering how many years of development there have been. I figured we'd be up and running and I could read your messages instantly, and maybe I missed them. I do have notifications turned on. They should have popped up all over my screen.
Hmm.
I pop up chat and I want to send a message. Like Frank sent me a message. What's funny is that you still aren't beaconing though. Yeah, because I haven't figured out how to manually beacon.
Yeah, you can turn
Oh
it. I've
no,
got the
no.
same problem Steve has.
There's a there's a button at the top. So you at the top you have this thing to turn messages on and off, turn the left column on and off. Then you have the plug to turn your connections on and off. Then you
Uh-huh.
have the chat to see your chat messages. And then right next to that there is a beacon button that is disabled. So I'm going to exit the application and go back in.
Okay.
Really? It didn't launch the app. It went into the App Store. Holy moly. There we go. That's what I would have expected to see. Look at that thing light up.
Really? Well, let me do the
That's what
same
I.
thing.
So the app needed to be restarted. I still can't
Okay.
beacon, by the way.
Well, I'm restarting right now.
I'm going to turn off that one, the built in one. I'm going to create my again. I'm going to configure it. It's going to be KM9G-0. I'm going to tell it to auto start this one. I'm going to pick GNOME, North America, because I want to do something different. Include packets inside the visible map boundary. Okay. I'm going to go back to the other one and turn off auto start so they don't conflict. I'm going to turn mine on. And then I got to find where I'm located again. Okay. I still can't beacon.
Yeah, I haven't figured
I
it out
can't
yet
choose
either.
license because I already have a license. You've just purchased a license. Would you like to enable beaconing?
Right? You'd think.
Yeah. Enable beacon, internet, rate, manual.
Oh, this is also a TNC, Steve.
Yeah. I
Serial
was going to
and
plug it into the 705
TCP/IP,
and do it.
audio modem, Bluetooth, serial
So the audio
GPS.
would be really easy to plug it into the 705 and just use, the audio sound card interface, kind of like you do with
Right,
FT8.
right.
So this thing should replace Direwolf.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to quit the app and I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick when I do that.
So I should ditch my Windows machine or my Linux machine that's doing Direwolf and get. Well, I mean, I'd use Pinpoint APRS because I'd throw away a Windows machine. I don't want to dedicate a Mac to doing this. This is a nice program. If one of our brains could figure out how to make it beacon, it would be cooler. I'm picking
So
up
I'm actually,
stations.
Ronnie sent me the documentation. He's making me feel bad.
Ronnie, good move, buddy.
And APRS.FI is not, no, it's showing the tactical call sign for Tukari. I was going to say it's not showing any more call signs than mine, but it is. But there's
My
only
info.
two call signs in the area, mine and Tukari.
So should I not see? What is the red X by my call sign telling me?
I would assume that you haven't beaconed.
Yeah. Okay. It would be nice if I could figure out how to do that.
Okay, select the scope that you would like the beacon sent to. The scope acts as a selector to choose which connections will transmit the beacon. If, for example, you have local scope selected and the only connection able to transmit is an internet connection, then no beacon will be transmitted. I know what he's trying to say, but I don't know how to translate that into let's do something in the app.
Okay, so location services, manual, and GPS. And if I click that, okay, so now let me get out of that. And let me click map.
Okay, so I restarted the application and it's doing the whole download, even though I didn't tell it to do the whole download. That was from the old one that I disabled, which is still disabled. Oh, it's doing visible map boundaries, giving me everything, and the visible map boundaries is North America. Ah, I might have found it. I did found it.
And then this scope
You're gonna
up
hate
here,
this.
local, internet, and all, which is what they were talking
So
about,
I'm gonna
what you were
share. I'm gonna
reading.
remove your screen and share my screen.
Okay.
So go into your connections by hitting plug on the toolbar, and
Yeah.
then you see this column next to it. You have the on-off switch, and right next to it is the TX button, the TX enable. So
Yeah.
if I
I
click
already.
that, now I get the
Uh,
beacon button up here at the top.
oh, I had that clicked, but now I see the beacon button. And I just beaconed, so
So I'm gonna
suck it,
beacon.
Quebec. Suck it, Trebek. But I think it also depends on if you go in your settings again. Not that, Jim.
It has beaconed.
Because this is what the documentation was talking about. Let me move that out of the way. Right here under beacon, up here in the corner, under your settings menu, settings beacon. You want me to show you mine instead? I'll do
Sure.
that since you got yours up there. It would, okay. Stay.
So they changed something in StreamYard where if you want to share something new, you have to unshare the old thing.
Oh, okay. So there is what they were talking about with the scope, local internet and all. And then I clicked this, which gives you a reticle, and I put that over my QTH.
Yep.
And then my symbol is a red X. So let me change that. Let's see, I was a paramedic, so we'll go with that. And if I close that, and I rebeacon. So there you go. All right.
I still can't reply to a message. Ah, there we
Yeah,
go.
let's see, messages.
That was a pain.
So I
So
haven't
pick
gotten any new
John,
ones.
WV. Yeah, it's fine. Pick John, WV3L.
Okay.
Now, you see how you can't reply at all? There's nothing you
Yes.
can do. This
Yeah.
is not proper default behavior in my mind. Go to the upper right corner of this box where the gear is, or do something completely different.
Well,
Go back to
it
pick
was a little
John,
it was a little pencil, so I thought it meant go.
which is not the upper right corner where the gear is. Now choose all, and now you can
Okay.
reply to John.
And now we can reply to John. That's probably why I couldn't send a message to you earlier either. Because I did this. Yeah. So I got to do that
Yeah,
for
now pick
everybody.
the gear and do all. Yeah.
Yeah. My watch is blowing
You
up. I'm
sent it.
getting a ton of messages on APRS FI.
I did not see your message. Send it to KM9G-1 instead of -0.
Well, I think it's still trying, but okay.
You should be able to do more than one message at a time. You have the world's most
Right.
awesomest computer at your disposal.
I do.
James Rosepopo, I probably pronounced that wrong, is wanting to know what the other program is. The iPhone app is APRS.FI. The Windows app is what is Pinpoint APRS. The
Pinpoint
Mac app is
APRS.
QTH.app. And the Linux program is crap. I can't remember the name of it.
Is that Yak or Zaster?
Zaster. Yeah, both of those two. Both of those two work. And then in order
XA.
to get Linux working, you need to use Direwolf underneath of Zaster. XASTIR.
So I am getting messages on. Frank, you disturbed me. I'm getting messages on the phone. I've gotten from John, Ken, Frank, Scott. Well, those were older, but this guy doesn't seem to be wanting to send yet, Steve, because both of the messages to you failed. Let me try and reply to Scott. Let me tell it internet. And then see,
Yeah,
I
that
tried
should
to
work.
reply to John and it failed as well.
What is your station identifier?
0. Is that not a valid one?
I don't know.
I don't know
But
either.
when I programmed the whole software, I told it to use 1, I believe. I don't remember. It's been so long now.
LC says APRX is a good program. Is that the Linux one, LC? I assume so.
So on your left-hand column where you have all those people, you have 2 of me. See if one of those just sent you a message. No. And
No.
no.
Mm-mm. All right,
This
let me
makes me
change.
not want to do this. Like John Gendron was saying.
Once
This
you
makes
get
me
it
not
set
want to
up,
do
it's
this.
fine, but arcane
We
is the
haven't done
word
it
I would
yet.
use.
You played with it a while ago and gave up and forgot that you even did it. Like you blocked it out of your mind so hard you forgot you had even done it. And you and I have been playing with this with 160 people watching for an hour and a half.
Me and John W3VL, I mean, this is APRSFI. It's working great. Okay. Let's see. All right, WT. Oh, it doesn't show an SSID. I'm going to make myself -3, peoples.
Just put the 3 in there.
That's
Not the
probably why I
-3.
didn't. That's probably why I didn't put anything in there earlier. Do I need to save that? Save.
All right, let me do a
I'm 3 now.
WT1W -3. And I'm going to set it to all because all should make it work. It should go over both paths.
Okay.
I just sent you a message. You see nothing new from me.
Not yet.
Zaster would have been awesome in 1997.
Yeah.
Gendron is saying if we wanted to be frustrated, we could just be playing cards with my brother's kids.
Right.
This is like Hayden and I were talking about this today. This is one of the reasons why I think ham radio is dying is because stuff like this.
Well, it's interesting because there are some.
Oh, you
there
need
are
to
some
beacon
good.
before I can see you.
Okay. Done. Done Beacon several times.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, go on. You were saying?
Well, there's some good programs in ham radio, and I don't disagree with you. And I would certainly never disagree with Hayden because he's an Aussie and sounds way smarter than either one of us. But there's some good programs. APRS, Pinpoint APRS for Windows is awesome. Had it working pretty quickly. I will say this program looks pretty good. A little weird to get set up. Direwolf is, you got to cast chicken entrails and bones on Direwolf. Frank, I have beaconed. I just beaconed.
Yeah, we both did.
I see my last beacon 47 minutes and 17 seconds ago. So this is not beaconing. Dash 12 is probably my truck. No, there's WT1W-Y. That's a hotspot. Share screen. APRS. So this is all my beacons right now.
You're not sharing your screen if you're trying to show us something.
Oh, was. Sorry. M9G star. And see, now you are 2 minutes and 7 seconds ago on 146.52 and 37 minutes ago from dash 12. So you did from the Mac, apparently.
Yeah. Well, folks, that was not what I expected that to be. Where did my thing go? There it is. But this is one of the cool things about Nuggets. We get to experience all this frustration together, and collectively, I saved y'all a bunch of money. AGW tracker at any point. No, we haven't tried that, but we can. Do we count this as a success? Yes, Chris. We successfully found out we don't like it.
Oh, I read the Direwolf conf file, Lee. I just got tired of trying to turn
It,
northing into a real latitude and a longitude like normal people would use. Mine mostly works.
and I hate to say that out loud that I don't like it. I think it does look good, but I think what happens, and again, Jim and I were talking about this before the show started. People go so far down a path. It's the quote from Jurassic Park. Like they were too busy trying to do it that they didn't ask themselves why they were doing it.
Well, the Federation president said just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do that thing.
Yeah. Like this is the way this has always been done. I'm going to do it exactly the same way it's always been done. I'm not going to, just try come at it from a different angle.
Pinpoint has a Mac version. Oh, Scott, I got to look that up then. Because I love the Windows version. I think it's cool. Damn it. I don't really want to buy another.
Pinpoint. Pinpoint weather. Pinpoint rewards. Pinpoint savings.
Yeah, there's no Pinpoint APRS.
Not in the App Store. It might be just something you download directly.
Maybe so.
Pocket Packet.
Oh, Lord.
is another one. That was only $5.
Let's see. Look.
Jody's saying it's the Kobayashi Maru. What I was trying to get across earlier
Yeah.
that I probably didn't get across properly is if you already know everything there is to know about APRS, this thing probably works great. And it's kind of like dropping yourself in front of Ham Radio Deluxe or the other logging app, N N1MM, with all the
N1MM, yeah.
features turned on all at once, all loaded on your screen all at the same time. Good luck. This is why I like Hammers. Hammers, you just say new logbook, give it a name, and you enter in a contact name and a signal report. Like you have to know what you're trying to do from like, I want to write this on paper, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of extra features right out of the gate. Pocket packet sounds like something else. Chris, I don't want to know what you think that sounds like.
Does not work on Macs. Windows only.
Pinpoint?
Yeah. Because I would have seen that
Frank, I like Polo. I've tried it.
when I got it, and I would have gotten excited for it to be on Mac or Linux. So yeah, I mean, if you can run a VM on your Mac, you could run Pinpoint, but and it's cool on Windows because I played with it a bunch. I just haven't converted my Direwolf box back to Windows.
Wine. Yeah, we could do it on Wine. Add complexity. Yeah. And I've done that. Wine works out really well especially well for old ham radio apps.
Yep. It does. I use the Windows version of Secure CRT on Linux for a while. And that
Nate, we broke our
well.
spirits. I got nothing left, Jim.
Okay.
I tried. Oh no, I do. I have two things left. We're gonna make this a little bit better. So this is the fourth Monday of the month. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, fourth Monday of the month is the Combination Toads and Ham Radio Clubhouse VE session. And if you are on the Toads Discord, which is linked at the top, you can message us to figure out how to get in on that. But you can do an online test. And tonight we had someone pass their tech. Chris passed their tech, and John was the
VE of record?
John was one of the VEs that was there, and our friend Steve KO4 AFL was the VEC that made the whole thing work. And then I had this mystery box that came. Can I show your return address? It's your address on QRZ, so I guess so.
That's
there.
Fine.
It came from FEP Labs Radio and showed up at the park today. Can I open this on stream, or is there like things in here we shouldn't show people?
You can open that on stream.
So, boom.
I mean, it's the genuine Swedish. Well, never mind. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. No.
Groovy, baby.
It's brown paper.
I mean, it is Swedish.
Oh, this is that pine seal case that you were talking about the other show ago.
I can't remember if I glued the bottoms in or not. So if it falls apart, it's because it ain't glued yet.
This one has 3D printed pins. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because the other ones that I've seen have metal pins, and that's like, why would I go through all the trouble to 3D print something and then
I found
it together with
well, yeah, cool. They talk about using like M3 by 20 screws or something, and I'm like,
nice.
Look on any of the printing sites, and you can find pins. I think I might have sized them down a skosh to get them to fit really well, but.
I'm trying to get the bobbin out. That's hard to get out.
Yeah, I don't like the bobbin. I think the bobbin is a waste of time, and it's going to break something.
Okay, so there is the holder boot thing.
I'm going to embiggen you. Okay, there you go.
There's the holder boot thing, and I have a bolt and a nut to go through there, which pinches that so that the bearing doesn't fall out.
Holds it a little better.
And then what you do is you put it in the case like that. It's got a little spot to stick it in, and then you stick your pine seal in it from the side, and it keeps it at this nice angle, and the bearing that you use stops the heat from destroying it.
Right.
And then this bobbin is supposed to be for solder. And I think
Yes,
it did the
that's the
same thing that
theory.
the one that Chuck sent, which is I think it just broke.
Yeah, bobbin is kind of sketchy. It pushes on in a weird way, and
But it was supposed to be one piece?
no, it's two. It's not broken.
Oh,
It's
okay,
two
because
pieces. Yeah.
trying to figure out how to put it back together.
Good luck.
I guess it just snaps.
Of course, here's mine.
There it is.
And mine is much bigger than
Yours
Steve's.
is tall. Gee, I
And
wonder why.
deep. I have much more length and girth.
Is the holder PETG?
No. No, it's PLA. Which may or may not be a problem. I can reprint a holder by itself. It's not tied to the whole case, so if it does melt it, So what I did,
the bobbin,
go ahead.
The bobbin is loose on the bobbin holder. Like you're going to be able to see that on camera.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get off. And when I try to take it off, it comes out off in pieces.
The two pieces snap together. It's
Yep.
I think it's kind of squirrely myself. So the one Steve has is the shallower version. I found a different print on camera with the a deep base. Uses all the same parts except for the bottom, which is this. And then you can put, and I have solder and a torch and a baby Phillips screwdriver and my steel wool and flux and stuff in there. So.
Yeah, if the bobbin was easier to get out, I would use it more.
The whole case or the bobbin?
The bobbin.
Yeah,
I can't get the bobbin out easy enough to use it. It comes apart in two pieces.
It's a pain in the ass. Because if you pull on the bobbin, you're going to pull it apart. You have to get the bottom and lift both of them.
Yeah.
And it will fasten together, and it's kind of odd how it fastens, but you have to just line up those little lines with the notch on the bottom piece and then push. And I just popped it apart here, so it's not just you.
So they're asking for the STL link, of course, because that's what happens anytime you show a 3D printed item, whether it's freely available or for sale or what.
Printables.
We'll drop that in the nuggets.
Yeah, we'll put it in there. Rugged pine seal
on the
case.
Discord.
Rugged pine seal case. And there's about 107
And so there's a spot for
variations.
your USB cable here. There's
Yep.
a spot for your pine seal here. There's a spot for the stand there. These are for extra tips if you're the kind of person that uses extra tips. This is probably where you put your blue tack if you use blue tack. This is where I would put the brass wool to clean my soldering iron, or you could put a sponge there if you're one of those weird sponge types.
If you're a sponge person.
And then this whole thing can fit in your shirt pocket.
You know, Lee likes to give me crap, but I believe he's a brass wool guy too. And I think Hollywood is a brass wool guy.
Went up a notch in my book.
I mean, if he's a brass wool guy, he's
wool
cool.
guy.
Yeah. I think he's the one that converted me. Oh, I never use a sponge. I'm like, well, you know.
Bryant wants to know about printing with TPU for the insert. What do you think about TPU?
For the insert? No. On the print, there is a gasket that they said you can print in TPU to make the case more water resistant. But I don't intend to have this on the boat with me where I might drop it overboard. But printing that insert in TPU, I think
never know when you're
going to
need to solder on a boat.
Right. It's not going to hold anything. Well, if you have a boat, you'll know there's probably soldering you need to do. But I don't think the TPU would hold up in that insert. Maybe the one in the top, but it's got to grip that pine seal because this crap's going to fall out. So this is where the soldering iron is. I don't know if you're talking about the one in the lid or this one, but either one of them need to be fairly sturdy. And I don't think TPU would hold up, not for the bottom one here, where your tips and everything is. Maybe for this one, but the lid has to hold the soldering iron and grip it. So I don't know. I didn't try it. I have a roll of TPU. I've never even opened it and printed with it because I don't have anything I need to make specifically. So, but your mileage may vary. Void where prohibited.
YMMV.
Void where prohibited. So.
When you print in TPU, Jim, do you get that kind of like rubbery, smooth, soft texture, or is it still hard plastic? It's just
No,
another because
no, it's
when
it's
when I see
rubber.
like okay, when I see like SLA and PETG and ABS, it all looks the same to me. Looks the
Well,
same to
some of
me.
that is
I
what you
realize they're
just
different
scratched.
materials.
That's the bed texture. So you can print on a smooth bed or a textured bed. I just have textured beds because I don't care. And I'm not making artwork with any of this stuff. I'm making functional dinguses, right? Or printing tchotchkes from my desk, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if you want a smooth texture, then you use a smooth bed. But TPU is rubbery. Like you make iPhone bumper cases out of TPU. You make adult devices out of TPU because it's like that. It's flexible and rubbery. It is not a hard plastic.
And while we were talking about APRS apps, I think even the APRS app that you get with the Vero, while it's still very good and easy to use, it's not refined. Like they took the APRS
Mm-hmm.
paradigm. They didn't take the I want to send a message to my friend paradigm.
Which is a big miss on that. But that app hasn't changed a whole lot since I bought and did a video on the N7500 3 years ago. 4 years ago, probably,
Yeah.
actually. It's not terrible,
But you
but
can
like
use
Steve's
APRS
saying,
Droid.
it's kind of lame interface. Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
It's actually hard to send a brand new message. No, the internet's crapping out. It
Mm.
like you open the app, you can't like hit the pencil and type in 2WT1W-7 go. I have to kind of go find another message, then try to reply to that message, then edit that message to change the call sign on that message to a new call sign. It's way more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah. Uh, Boy, we started talking about 3D printing at the end of the show, and that's like all the questions. And I agree with you. If I have
We should
one program I really want to fuss about, it would be Ham Radio Deluxe, just to get this back on ham radio, although it's 8 o'clock now, and I need a Newport and a Coke and a
Yep.
Ham Radio Deluxe is a really nice program. Really nice program. It does a ton of stuff. It will log. It will log to QRZ. It'll log to 4 or 5 other systems, Logbook of the World as well. It has a satellite tracking program integrated into it. You can download current Kepler data for all the birds that are in it, and Jesus Christ, all the birds are in it. It will drive your radio. Like I have a 9700 up here, and it will literally drive the radio and do all the satellite things. It will change frequency to account for Doppler shift, et cetera, et cetera. It has a tracker to show me where the birds are and how high or low of a pass it's going to be. It has a rotator program to rotate your rotator, your antenna. It has DM780 as their digital master, and it does CW encode decode. It does PSK. It does RIDI. It does EME. It does, I don't know what all it does. It does a ton of digital modes. It is like a Swiss Army knife. And like a Swiss Army knife, the interface is a little lame. I mean, I suppose there's a time you need tiny scissors. That's kind of a terrible analogy. But the interface on it looks like it was written in 1998. Windows ME or Windows 98 or something. It hasn't changed. And I bought it. It was one of the first things I ever bought when I got my ham license. Was I dropped the cash on HRD, and I have some very specific use cases where it's still useful to me, and it certainly was with my 7300 and my 981A. But the interface is just horrible. The program is awesome, but my God, it is just, can I say shitty? It's a shitty interface. Terrible. And
I think you
HRD,
did.
if you're listening to us right now, great program, crap interface. So And no, I have never printed anything in TPU because I just don't really have. I have a roll of TPU, never been opened. I have a roll of ABS, never been opened. I think I have a roll of ASA, and I've just never printed anything in them because there's nothing I needed to print in them specifically. I think I bought them to play with and just haven't ever opened them to play with. I need to mess with them. Right,
Chris
Chris
has the
Hooker?
right message. We
Yeah.
need new, fresh blood into the hobby. But this is another thing Hayden and I were talking about. Why would you get into this hobby as a new, younger person? There's no there's no compelling reason. You know, the last generation of hams, which is why all the software was written in that time frame,
Yeah,
didn't have cell phones and they needed to communicate on their commute back and forth to work. The local
right,
repeaters worked.
right.
And now I have a cell phone, so the local repeaters are dead.
Yeah, I don't know how to sell it. I mean, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and she's a smart kid. She's probably going to be a vet or a nurse practitioner, one of the two. And she's already got college picked out, and I promised her that I would send her to the college of her choice because I approve. And, you know, but trying to get her into radio. And again, I think she's a smarter than average kid. Of course, she's my kid, so I would think that I'm her dad, but
Of course.
she has zero point 0.0 interest in radio. And I, you know, when her little cousin-in-laws lived next door, I offered to give them GMRS radios, and they were not interested. I mean, when I was like 8 or 9, me and my sister had walkie-talkies, probably younger than that, more like 5 or 6. We had walkie-talkies that went shh all the time unless you keyed them up. There was no squelch. We used those things
Hmm.
all the time until my sister broke the antenna on mine because she was evil. Is evil. Badger, I agree with you. I think a lot of that is,
Yeah.
I sound like an old man. It's the youth. They just don't want to learn anything new or don't care or, you know,
Yeah.
goes back to the phone thing. Sean, no, we did not. We got that. That is professionally done. It is actually multi-jet fusion. It is not
nylon.
FDM.
Yeah.
It's PA12 nylon, which I can print. But we don't 3D print those. Those are actually not done with FDM, fused deposition modeling. Those are done with MJF, multi-jet fusion. They spray plastic and make it crunch together or something. It has fusion in it.
With
so it must
multiple
be cool.
jets.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So Brian's comment here was hobbies are not why would I have to? They are for when I want to. And that's the reason. Like, why would you want to? Not why would I have to? Why would you want to? Like, I get a cell phone because I want to talk to my friends, not because I
Right.
have to have a cell phone. I have to have a phone number in order to, conduct business as an adult, but I don't have to have a cell phone to do it. I could have a landline and, stay in the dinosaur era, but I want to play with something new. Like I want to play with Meshtastic. I want to play with APRS. And then it becomes really difficult. Like, okay, what can I do with this? I know what I can do with it. And I was hoping this application would work well enough that we could get right past that and start doing stuff with it, but we never got that far because I had something really cool to show you with APRS. We just couldn't figure it out.
Well, yeah, I would like to think that we're two reasonably smart guys. And
It's not just the two of us.
Well, yeah, we have 140 right now of our friends watching, helping us, and we couldn't beat that dog into submission. Excuse the metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
WeatherBot is an awesome example. I have a whole page of apps loaded. There's also APRS Thursdays where you kind of check in and talk to, it's like calling CQ on HF and you never know who you're going to get kind of thing. There's a ton of stuff.
Patrick Wright, we're old geezers. Yeah.
I think we should end this before we complain more.
We need to save some of it for
Save
Sunday.
it for church.
Save it for church.
Right.
All right, boys.
See y'all hitting the button.